I was just looking for a place to clean the engine grease off my arms after 3 hours rewiring the plasma coils on an overheating mining freighter. I wasn't expecting to find her not in the lower decks, not in the maintenance spa, not in the place most crewmates ignored because of the broken thermostat and flickering lights. But there she was, waist-deep in steam-slick water, the pool glowing soft blue under mist, and haze her skin gleaming with moisture, her wild hair floating like dark smoke, and her long muscle tail coiled like a question mark over the edge. I stopped dead. She turned slow like she'd known I was coming before I even rounded the corner, and her yellow eyes locked on mine with a look I'd never seen from anyone human or not. "You smell like smoke and sparks," she said in a voice half growl, half song, "and not the kind I want wafting through my bath." "Sorry," I muttered, "I was just passing by." "No, you weren't," she said, tail twitching. "You came here because you're tired, because you're sore, because the ship eats your time and spits out bone." I didn't answer because she wasn't wrong. Then she smiled, not with teeth, but with something older, something dangerous and warm and inviting. "Get in." "What?" "Get in the water before I drag you and myself." There are about 17 reasons I should have walked away, and none of them mattered, because the way she leaned back against the far wall, neck, exposed tail slowly curling, told me this was not just a bath and not just an invitation. I stripped down to the basics and stepped into the pool, and the heat hit me like a pulse, like every muscle remembered it was tired and started melting right there. And then she moved closer, not swimming, not walking, just flowing. And then her tail slithered across the deck, and with a soft snick the door clicked shut behind me, the curved bone spike at the end of her tail sliding into the manual lock. That was when I realized I hadn't asked her name and that it might be too late. "You always work alone," she said, circling around me like a current. "You never take breaks, never visit wreck deck, never touch the others." I didn't think I was interesting enough. "You're not," she said bluntly, then smiled again, "but you're real, that's rarer." We stood there in silence, the kind that stick with heat, and not words, and I looked at her, really looked, scales along her arms shimmer with heat. She was taller than me, broader than I expected, tail longer than I could track, and yet her voice had gone soft now. "I've seen you in the vents during systems checks," she said. "I watch how you treat broken things like they matter, like they have feelings." "Machines have patterns," I said. "If you treat them rough, they stop trusting you." "And what about people? They're harder to fix." She moved close enough that the water between us steamed harder, and she raised one hand and tapped a claw gently on my chest. "I'm not broken," she whispered, "but I'm still waiting for someone who doesn't flinch when they see all of me." I didn't flinch. She reached up, ran fingers through my damp hair, and chuckled low. "You didn't even blink when I locked the door." "Should I have?" "Maybe." Her tail brushed around my back, not pulling, not threatening, just anchoring me to this strange moment, like it didn't want me drifting away. She turned, then leaned against the side of the pool, steam rising around her, and she tilted her head back, eyes closed. "Do you know what this place used to be?" she asked. "A water recycler room. Before that, no. This was a ritual room." She said old alien ships used steam and water to cleanse before war or mating or rebirth. Or maybe all three of the sensors are still tuned to pulse in rhythm with heartbeats. I noticed in the thrum in the water the faint pulse that didn't match the ship's engine, but matched her slow, deep breaths. "Why bring me here?" I asked finally. "Because you haven't let anyone see you," she said, "and I'm tired of pretending I haven't seen you." We stayed like that for a while, not touching, not talking, just breathing steam into lungs and letting silence settle like fog. Then she moved again, slid across the water until we were shoulder to shoulder, and her tail floated beside mine like a second shadow. "I'm not asking for forever," she said, "just a moment where you're not pretending to be alone." So I stopped pretending. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and let the heat undo everything I'd been holding together. And when her head rested lightly on my shoulder and her claws grazed my arm, I didn't tense, I didn't run, I just breathed. Hours passed, or maybe only minutes, because time in that place flowed differently, and when the door finally unlocked and hissed open on its own, I didn't want to leave. Neither did she. But duty called. The ship groaned with pressure warnings and system scans, and we both knew this moment wouldn't last. Still, she brushed her lips over my cheek before stepping out, her body steaming like fire and fog, and said, "Next time, I'll drag you in without asking." I believed her. I hoped she would. Back in the engine room, I smelled like her, like steam and skin and something wild. And I didn't mind at all, because in the middle of cold machines and long shifts and silence, that bath meant something more than heat. It meant someone saw me and locked the door to keep me there, not to trap me, but to make me stay long enough to feel wanted.